Hello, folks. So, stream starting about a half an hour late. Supposed to start at 9. Was ready to start at 9. Had all my information up on the screen ready to go so I could give you guys the informative things that you need to know about what's going on in the current PBE cycle, and Windows decided it needed to restart to complete an update. +1 Windows. Well fought. Anyway, we're currently on what was technically considered unofficial patch 6.15. So of course there's going to be information about daily patches and whatnot. There's going to be some information that goes out that is only going to be there for a short period of time. So it's not necessarily it's not all going to actually go to live. So just to make sure folks understand that the PBE patch cycle information is literally just for PBE players and for those on Twitch that are interested in seeing the new content before it gets released. All things on the PBE get tested. Not all things go through. There's some changes even on this list that I think are already slightly different. So we're gonna really quickly. I'm gonna pull up PvP. There we go. So of course, first thing that we can go over though is new champion, no new champion releases, new skin releases. I haven't purchased them yet just because I was going to show the information about them. But we have Project Cat, Project Echo, and Project Ash. These are the 3 new project skins that are being demoed in the project showcase for those that are interested in seeing the splash arts and the client. There's Project Ash. I will definitely be using Project Ash from pretty much this point forward. Project Echo, which I'm honestly, I'm a little iffy. I'm back and forth on it. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to use Project Echo or continue to use Academy. I'm probably going to use Project just at least for a little bit. And Project Katarina, which while I'll admit looks cool, will still never be better than Kitty Katarina. Yeah. Anyway, so let's. If you go to gameplay, there's nothing really new going on in here. Haven't been any rune changes. Hextech crafting, we have extra stuff on PBE, but there hasn't been any changes to Hextech crafting. You will see that there is a Project Ward coming up. So that's a thing. So the Project Ward actually looks really cool. It's I may even jump off of using the Riot Fist Bump on main for a little while to just to use it. There are new summoner icons out with the project skins. They haven't actually been forced onto the PBE yet. So we'll go over them via infographic. Do we have it here? Do we have the infographic here for the awards? We don't have the infographic for it. But anyway, other thing, project minions have been enabled on the PBE again. So we have our project minions on the PBE. So that's kind of cool. There have been a plethora of game tips that have been added in. Information on Tibbers, Cloud Mountain, Ocean, and Infernal Drake all actually have tooltips on them now when you highlight their buffs. Elder Dragon has a little information thing. It only appears after 35 minutes, but slaying them gives your team a massive effects to their abilities. You can have 3 stealth wards and 1 vision ward on the map at a time is I believe part of the trinket info. Echo got an update. Top Kench got an update. Rift Herald was given an information header. Scion can jump over walls in the final leap of his ultimate. So that's the thing. Yasuo's Wind Wall and Braum's Unbreakable won't block lasers like Lux's ultimate. So that's interesting little change because it also means that it's not going to block. It's not going to block other lasers as well. There's probably a few lasers in the game that they probably should fix that it does block. Like I would expect it not to block Vel'Koz's ultimate. I'm not sure if it does or doesn't. Qua would probably be able to tell that or not. Blue Buff Golem loves to dance with pop star Ahri. So there's this really interesting interaction between pop star Ahri and Blue Buff, and every once in a while it does it, but it doesn't do it every single time. As you can see, my browser is totally smoking it right now because I have multiple things up on my browser right now just to go through the patch notes. Our project. Oh wait, do we have the project stuff up right now? Wow, are you kidding me right now? There we go. Okay, yeah, the project icons are up. There's currently the red triangle, green triangle, blue triangle, a tricolored triangle, one of Katarina's blade and then Katarina's face, one of Echo's blade and Echo's face, one of Ash's face offset to the side and Ash's bow, and then a full-on version of Ash because I believe Ash's project skin has a hood on it, naturally. I'm not entirely sure whether or not that's going to be removable or not, but we'll see. So current changes on the current update for the PBE. The most recent one, so this would technically be update number 2, which was essentially released yesterday morning. Corky's Gatling gun, the armor and MR reduction was reduced to a flat 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 in the levels rather than from 20 to 28%. Requires 8 hits to reduce resistances from 4. Gatling gun has significant changes in the PBE this patch cycle, switching to a large chunk of armor MR reduction after X hits and stacking reduction per hit. So it's the reduced by 10 for at level 1. It's reduced by 10 for 4 seconds. The total length of time. I think both the length of time increases and the actual reduction in armor increases. So Karma has had her shield value lowered to 70, 100, 30, 160, and 190. So it's down 10 across the board. It can no longer shield minions, so that's a thing. And the mantra bonus has the same movement speed as the E shield instead of just 60% across the board. So it actually scales with level of E, so it scales to 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So eventually at level 5 it goes back to 60, but it actually scales now with the level. So that's actually an acceptable thing. God, I have no idea what is going on with this browser right now. It just does not want to function. So that's the update for Karma. Nidalee currently has an update to Bushwhack, which pouncing on a hunting target slows the target by 50%. I guess maybe I could switch to the champions for now while I'm talking about them. I think this is pretty much in alphabetical order. Maybe. So we have Nidalee. Bushwhack. The pounce slows the target by 50% for 5 seconds, and it does not put pounce on a 3-second cooldown. So pounce's cooldown does not get reduced anymore. So that's going to be a thing Nidalee players are going to have to pay attention to. Me, being a Nidalee player, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that myself. The next champion that we have an update for is Talia. Talia's Q is threaded volley is actually getting a slight cooldown increase. So the cooldown increase is going to 12, 10.5, 9, 7.5, 6 from the 10, 8.5, 7, 5.5, 4 that it currently is. So the tooltip, the tooltip still needs to be adjusted. They haven't fixed it completely, and I'm not sure what it's currently doing. I believe that it's hurls one rock, but 25%. At 25% of its mana cost. So Talia's basically her cooldown on it's getting adjusted, and the tooltip needs to get cleaned up a little bit. It looks like. Vane's tumble damage was reverted back to what it was previously. The Q crit, however, is now only going to be rolled once. So the Q bonus damage and auto attack crit chances were previously rolled separately. So you could actually get a crit on the auto attack, but not a crit on the Q bonus. Now, if you crit with the auto attack, you crit with the Q bonus, and your Q gets consumed on towers now as well. This does not mean that you get the crit bonus on the towers, though. I don't think you can critically strike against towers, from what I understand. Or I might be wrong about that. Anyway, some updates. Lord Van Dam's Pillager has been brought back onto Twisted Treeline. Its current gold cost is 3,300. Its build path is a little interesting. So we'll go over that. Actually, I should be able to pull it up in item sets. So let's pull up Lord Van Dam's Pillager. Okay, so Lord Van Dam's Pillager right now. It's building out of Warhammer and Fist. So here we go across the board. And its total cost is 3,300. So that's 1,100 plus 1,200, which is 2,300. So 1,000 total combined cost on the item at the end. And you can see in its tooltip here, the new ability that it has. Ashes to Ashes, controlling the nearest altar sets you a flame, dealing 25 plus 1 per champion level magic damage per second to nearby enemies. This is essentially the same kind of damage range on it as Sunfire Cape. Controlling the furthest altar causes your basic attacks to burn target for up to 114 true damage based upon champion level over 3 seconds. I feel like that tooltip could probably be cleaned up, and they could probably figure out a way to make it so that way it's this plus so much per champion level, so that way people understand what that damage is actually going to be, so they could determine whether it's going to be a good thing for you to do early or late. I may just go in and calculate what those totals are myself, and then update it to the PBE cycle page. But we'll see. I may or may not do that. So those are kind of a little bit of the changes. There haven't really been too many. Technically, this is actually the second update cycle for the PBE already since the patch, because there was an update on the 12th as well that went through that added the project stuff in. It also went through and did a few other balance changes to a few champions too. It added Brahm's Q's damage was lowered to 60, 105, 150, 195, 240. So essentially 10 across the board. So Corky's Gatling gun, the armor shred was adjusted. As we said, it's not percentage shred anymore. Jarvan had Demacian standard attack speed increased to 15, 17.5, 20, 22.5, 25% up from 10, 13, 16, 19, 22. So it's a slight increase to his percentages there. Kassadin's Null Sphere had its damage increased at later ranks by 5 addition per rank. So plus 5 at rank 2, plus 10 at rank 3, plus 15 at rank 4, and plus 20 at rank 5, up to 190 from 170. Force Pulse's mana cost was lowered in earlier ranks from 80 at all ranks to 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. So it's 80 at rank 5 again. Renekton's Fury generation increased to 6 per second from 5. AoE magic damage per second increased to 40, 80, 120, which is technically increased at lower ranks for his ultimate, from 30, 60, 120. So it's a early game buff for him to give him a little bit more power in his ultimate. Shen's basic health regen was decreased by 0.3. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a balance. Shyvana's base armor was increased by not a lot, like a somewhat insignificant amount. It just pulls it up to 28.05 from like 27.628 or whatever it is. Her base health was increased to 600 from 594 and a sixth, 6/10 or whatever. Her attack damage gross was increased to 5 from 3.4. Dragon's Descent now generates 1, 1.5, 2 Fury every 1 second, from 1, 2, and 3 Fury every 1.5 seconds. It's kind of a little bit of a buff because it's now slightly increased. So, but the actual overall effect is reduced. So, I think it's less later, technically. So, we'll see. I don't know. I haven't done the math on that. Did you do the math on it? I'm getting a head shake. Nobody did the math on that. The damage for Talia's Q was changed, which we kind of went over there. She has a little bit of damage adjustments there. Zyra's Deadly Spine's AP ratio was increased to 0.6 from 0.55, so it's a little bit of damage increase there. The damage increase on the spell itself, the base damage, was increased 5 per level, 5 bonus extra per level, so it's 20 bonus at rank 5. So it's up from 60, 90, 120, 150, 180 to 60, 95, 130, 165, 200. So it's a slight buff for Zyra to give her Q a little bit more damage. We went through the Lord Von Dom's Pillagers change, and I believe, other than the big update for the project skins, that's pretty much covers all the information we have on our thread. So we're going to go in really quickly, and Nexus Siege is still down here, but we're going to go in really quickly and create a custom game for Nexus Siege. So just wanted to do a few things here just to show people the Nexus Siege map, what's going on the Nexus Siege map, and wow, what is going on there? I currently only have free champions available for me to use. Oh, I can only ban free champions because nobody... Oh, okay, that's right, I'm banning. Boop. I don't even care. I'm going to go in with probably Ashe, just so I can show off her project skin.
All the world on one arrow.
We'll go over her project skin. AD pen. I think this is the AD page. Yar, there it is. Okay, so we'll go in here, show off Project Ashe to you guys, while we go over the way Nexus Siege currently works. So folks were a little bit confused about Nexus Siege when it first initially came to the PBE. They weren't understanding the way that the game type worked. So it is a blind draft game type. That being said, only player 1 gets to do any kind of bans. They haven't really done a full update for to the client yet, so still only player 1 getting the bans in the custom game modes, which I really wish they would update, but I guess it's kind of okay. It worked for a long time on League of Legends to begin with, so there's really no reason to really change it. I was going to say, are you going to load in game? But anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. But it does mean that you kind of just hope that the person that you've been playing with understands what champions should be banned in Nexus Siege. This basically includes anybody who has superior pushing power. ADCs like Tristana, people who have massive AoE abilities, that kind of stuff. Oh god. I love the way that the actual champion looks for this. You are currently on the attacking team.
The fact that you're following orders doesn't make you any less responsible. The siege has begun. Avarosa, guide me.
In 400 feet, turn left.
Thanks, Avarosa.
Okay. So you do start off, you're basically starting off at level 2, because by the time that you actually get the ability to teleport into the map, it's pretty much, you're pretty much level 2. You're 2.5 by the time that minions spawn. So the attacking team gets a Seer Stone, which is basically just your standard Seer Stone. Doesn't place a ward, just kind of allows you to see a location. This is kind of the older version of the blue trinket, if people remember. The other thing to know about this game mode is that when minions reach the spawn point in the backside over here, right here, or right here for the defending team, it actually charges the Obliterator. So there's a little counter up there that shows minions until Obliterator. This is actually really important for the attacking team to keep track of, because when that number gets to 15, you want to not be in a lane. Being in lane would be a bad thing. So just make sure that you keep an eye on that. You're going to notice that my gold amount is going up really quickly. Gold in on this map is actually rather fast. Leveling in this map is rather fast too. It's just a really increased gameplay speed. So just everybody kind of needs to keep that in mind when they're playing. There are a few item changes in the store. Obviously, we have the trinkets, your spell replacements, like your ballista and whatnot, which I'll purchase my ballista. But then you'll also notice that some of the adjusted items for like Twisted Treeline and Dominion are in this game mode. Like Man Immune's chain is slightly changed. I want to say that tier has a change too. I mean, it's not. They may be the only ones that they've updated in here, but I haven't actually gone through all of the items yet to really tell. But yay, Man Immune! So I'm going to teleport up here to the top lane. So you have a siege teleport ability as long as you're on the teleport, as long as you're in the home base, and once you leave the home base, that teleport token goes away.
Laser cooling is go.
So as for these little cannon ballistas, so you'll see that they have a range when you highlight it. You actually have to pay attention to that range because these ballista turrets have to be in range of the frame of the tower in order to hit. There's a couple of good spots for you to place these. One for the top lane right here is one, just because of it's kind of in the brush and it kind of gives you the ability to have it attack while you're not really present. You can place it right here or right here as well, but it does, or in this brush as well, but it does actually make it easier for the enemy team to come in here. But it does mean that if you place it correctly over here, it can actually attack both this turret and that turret if placed properly. There's like one specific location that it can go that it attacks both. I don't know if that's an intentional thing. I may potentially be telling Riot that this is happening, and it's not supposed to. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe something that gets patched. Maybe the turret range will be reduced or adjusted so that way they can only target one turret, or maybe when the turret that they're attacking is destroyed, they also get destroyed. But which is true. Whenever the turret that you're currently going after gets cleared, like that, your turret will automatically self-destruct. She's even got comments about taking out the turret. That's awesome. You will notice that the group that is sieging, that your minion waves always have siege tanks with them. The defending bases minion waves do not. So that's a little something to kind of point out. So when playing this in like just a test or a practice kind of game, you're always going to have siege minions with your minion waves. The enemy team does not have siege minions, so you don't have to worry about lanes actually pushing out when you're the attacking team. Somebody actually has to actively push the wave out. It's not going to do it on its own. So you'll be able to see enemy champions pushing a wave. In general, you want to try to protect from letting it happen because the Obliterator is a one-shot kill. It does some stupid amount of damage. Like I want to say it does like 9,999 damage or something like that. So, gonna go B, gonna purchase some stuff. So, we saw the Siege Ballista, what the Siege Ballista does. You also have a couple of other things. Vanguard Banner, which allows you to buff minions. You place it and your minions kind of get like a half buff kind of thing. They get a 50% damage increase, they get 50 armor and 100 magic resistance well within the range of it. The shield totems are there. After a 6-second delay, it'll provide nearby deployables 2 extra shield. So it basically just protects them. And then there's the teleport pad. Teleport pad you could place in, and it basically allows your teammates to teleport to that location instead of being forced to teleport to the back line. As for the jungle and whatnot, the jungle doesn't actually have minions in it. I generally tend to place my port pads, like, I'll place one here, just because it's a little bit closer, and it places you between the lanes and not visible to the enemy. So right here generally tends to be a location that people will place their ballistas. Mainly because this is going to allow it to fire. It's rather protected as long as you're continuing to push this lane down. And on top of that, it actually has the ability to attack both this tower and that tower from there. I have not actually paid attention as to whether or not it actually continues to fire a second turret. So I guess we'll kind of see here. My minions up top are doing work all on their own. That's pretty boss. I did have like a double minion wave up there, so that's kind of a thing. So I guess we'll see right now if destroying the turret automatically makes it. Yeah, it does. So destroying the turret automatically makes the ballista stop functioning, regardless of whether there's another turret in place. You'll notice that backs are charged, so that's a benefit. I'm not adding points to my abilities because it doesn't really make a difference. I honestly feel like the hardest lane to push is probably bottom. I don't know why. It just is. It is kind of... It's kind of a pain. I almost never actually come to bot lane. And actually, it tends to be the lane that gets ignored. It seems like top tends to be the one that people engage on. I think it's because top actually has more access to fighting, just because of the way top lane is constructed. So there's actually like 3 access points into the jungle, whereas like here, there's technically 3 access points into the jungle, but the one is all the way back. So, I mean, I suppose bot is better for the defending team to push waves out on. That would kind of be what I would use it for. For the most part, when I'm defending, like if I'm playing like Tristana or someone, I use that bottom branch literally just to. Basically use the bottom lane just to kind of push minions and charge the obliterator. Every once in a while you'll get a team of people who actually pay enough attention to know that that's what you're doing and come down there and fight you. But that's not always true. So destroying inhibitors does actually affect your waves. You do actually end up getting 2 siege tanks per wave, I think that's what it is. Yeah, you get 2 siege tanks per wave instead of just 1. It's not super minions like it normally is. It just increases the number of siege minions in the lane. So it doesn't actually affect the game too much, but it is definitely an effect on the game. My minions are going to take out mid tower. So as long as you're actively pushing a lane, if you push a lane as a group, you should pretty much always be able to gain minute advantage in a lane. Just for the simple fact that you are spawning tank minions, or siege minions, and the enemy team does not. So that's the thing. So you'll notice that in this first round, the game timer is going up. That game timer will only go up to 20 minutes. At 20 minutes, it will switch sides automatically. So if you are the attackers and you don't clear the base out in 20 minutes, the enemy team will get exactly 20 minutes to basically win the game. Now, people were making the comment, well, it's not actually 20 minutes, it's more like it's slightly less than 20 minutes. Oh, does bottom lane actually get super minions? Oh, you get super minions when all of them are down. Gotcha. So when all of the inhibitors are down, you do get a super minion. I forgot about that. So you'll see now that the game timer continued to tick up, 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 up. There's change teams, and now the game timer is ticking down instead of up. So basically, the enemy team has the exact same amount of time that it took you to push. Here it says round 2 of 2. You are the defending team to defend your Nexus for longer than the other team did to win. So basically now, you as the defending team, you actually start off with 100 crystals to be able to crystal shards to be able to purchase something. So the tower beam of ruination is a damaging beam that fires from your turret. Flash zone basically goes down on the ground. It's a big yellow circle. Allows people to converts both of your ability slots to flash for the period of time that it's down. Entropy field slows champions and stuns minions. I want to say stun minions. Enemy minions are trapped in the field, unable to move or attack. Yeah, so it stuns minions for 5 seconds. The enemy champions have their movement speed reduced by 25% for the 5 seconds. Then you have bulwark. I guess that's how it's said. Whatever. Makes the turret go invulnerable for a period of time, so the turret doesn't actually take damage. After 6 seconds, it goes away. After 4 seconds, it fires a AoE burst of 650 true damage to all enemies in the area of the turret. The cooldown per turret is 15 seconds, so you cannot just continue to chain these off. So one of the biggest things people were complaining about for the Nexus Siege mode was the fact that they were having a hard time understanding what the defense things were. So for Beam of Ruination, you get it in your inventory, and it's kind of just there. You have to actually select which tower to use it on. So like I have to highlight this tower and press D. Now the Beam of Ruination is fireable. So this only does damage to enemy champions, and you get to fire it 3 times just by hitting the D button again. So keep that in mind. I'm not 100% sure. I don't actually know if I don't actually know if the Obliterator takes out enemy minions. I guess I'll find out. But as you can see, the Obliterator number goes up as minions get to the Obliterator spawn. The best thing for you to do as a person who's trying to push the Obliterator in is literally just to camp like right outside the enemy spawn. This may make you vulnerable to getting attacked on your backhand side, but if you pay enough attention to the map, you'll actually be able to protect against anybody coming after you this way. The other thing that you'll notice is that we have siege site ward. So the defending team gets the ability to place site wards. It is a relatively large cast range for it, as you can see, and they last 30 seconds total. So they're kind of like a half a trinket ward, I think. Trinket wards are 60 seconds, right? Yeah, trinket wards are 60 seconds. So it's a half trinket ward. So I'm actually going to go B right now. So as you can see, both teams get the return bonus speed. I'm going to show you entropy field now. I'm going to rush Hurricane and Infinity Edge on her just so I can push the minion waves out a little bit faster. I guess we'll get some boots so we can go between waves. I'm not sure what these far teleport zones are for. I think they may just be leftovers from a previous iteration. I personally feel like Ashe is probably a really good ban in this game mode. And as you can see, the turrets do have a little bit of shielding that does regenerate. So I don't think that the minion waves can push down the first turret on their own. I think they actually need an enemy champion there. I guess we'll get to see if the Obliterator kills minions or not. Oh, it totally does. That's actually kind of cool. So as you can see, there is a cooldown for the Obliterator. I don't know where it actually displays the cooldown for the Obliterator. I don't know if it actually does anywhere. Whee! Kite those minions. Come over here, take care of this minion wave. So we'll show you what the entropy field does. So this goes off right where you're standing, and there's a little area where, as you can see, it literally just freezes the minions in what they're doing. So it's an area-wide stun for minions of the enemy team, and allows you to basically just kind of continue defending the point and prevent a little bit of minion damage to your objective.
We will free the others.
No, my caster minions didn't get there. For those of you that are curious, yes, there is a defensive turret laser. Respawn timers are relatively short in this game mode, though they do extend out as you continue to play. So keep that in mind as well. I just kind of went static shiv. And maybe a little bit more damage. Not really. So we'll show you Bulwark and Flash Zone, so I'll come top. Oops. So you'll notice that you can only teleport if you're actually at home base to the lane, and you lose your movement speed bonus. If you're running out of base, you do get home guard. So you see my kind of build strategy for this is sort of along the lines of attack speed, AoE, damage to minions. Minions are really the things that you really kind of want to be worried about when you're playing defense. So for the actual tower, for the Bulwark, you want to just click on your tower. It gets this little effect. And then after a little while, it does its AoE damage. And you'll see the cooldown on the tower as actually appears underneath. That shows you until the next time Bulwark can be used on that particular tower. The other thing that you get is Flash Zone, which can be super useful. It actually allows you to flash essentially a 3-second cooldown on the flash, so you basically get 3 flashes off on it. Can be really useful if like somebody's attempting to try to catch up to allies that are currently fighting in a lane. Your allies can kind of throw the flash zone down and allow you to catch up for the most part. So stats are kept track of in this game mode in a slightly different way. I'll show you the post-game screen, what stats it actually keeps track of. I want to say one of the stats that it keeps track of the most is minion kills, maybe? I don't really think that it cares about anything else. Do I have enough? Yeah, so you can only purchase one of the same item. So just keep that in mind too.
The odds of victory just increased exponentially.
Oh, yeah. That.
Stretching out my power reserve.
Sure, we'll grab some of that. But you can only purchase one of the siege, a single copy of a siege item. You can't purchase like 2 entropy fields because that would be super dirty.
More than ones and zeros.
Ash, you seem so angry. Should just still have a cape though. I like that. I like the oh no! The siege minions actually destroyed a turret. I lost a turret. I lose. I have failed my team. I have allowed a tower to go down. Whee! Fuck you, minions! Oh, God, the arrow looks so cool. So, you'll notice that you don't get gold for killing minions, just because you get retarded amounts of gold for just about everything else that you do. Killing champions. Yay! Obliterator fired. Yay! Berserkers. I completely forget where my train of thought was going. But anyway. Oh, it does have it down here. Okay, so the obliterator chart, the obliterator thing is down there. So, it is just kind of a little passive thing down here in the bottom. So once that obliterator overheated thing goes away,
never trade freedom for security.
we field the shit out of those minions. Stop killing my minions. 8. So once the timer reaches 0, if the enemy team has not destroyed your Nexus, it will automatically go and destroy the enemy team's Nexus just like so. So that's how the game mode ends. When the defending team's timer expires. So things about the post-game screen. It combines your kill deaths and assists for both rounds. Instead of showing your summoner spells, it shows your most used defensive siege weapon and your most used offensive siege weapon, which will pretty much always be Siege Ballista. It shows your itemization build for the last round, I think, only. And then it shows your damage dealt to turrets. This is actually an interesting stat because it actually shows the amount of work you did to clear turrets down. This includes damage that your siege ballistas do to turrets. So your siege ballista adds to your damage dealt to turrets. And then offensive siege weapons destroyed. It basically how many siege ballistas or totems you have destroyed of the enemy team. So it's not super difficult game mode. You can see my siege mode normal. I have 2 wins and 4 losses. It's really kind of a balanced game type. It makes a difference who your team picks. Really, really strong champions. Believe it or not, like Rengar, Kha'Zix. I see a lot of Tristana. I see a lot of Ashe. And then pretty much anybody assassin-y. Akali is super good. Katarina is super good. There's a lot of team fighting and group fighting that occurs. So they're pretty good. That's a pretty good set of bans. So that's our information on the PBE. I was going to run a couple of PBE games, but it seems like we have some other stuff that needs to get taken care of. So that'll be the PBE rundown for today, about an hour long, just to kind of go over the game mode, give you guys a little bit of information about what's going on and whatnot. So we appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back at around noon with just standard NA, or maybe we'll even play on EU West. Maybe we'll do that. So either NA or EU West gameplay, just so that you guys can maybe get a little bit of feel for how EU West works. Maybe you might want to jump over to another server in the NA and play with some EU players if that's something you're interested in. But we appreciate everybody watching, and if you're watching over on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on Ustream, thank you. You're a PBE player for the most part, and you are pretty much the main group of people that I do most of my streaming for. So I really appreciate all you guys that watch this stuff over there. And for the new people who are joining on our new Twitch page, please favorite. Press that little heart button underneath the video so that way you're added into our list. And just a little added incentive for both the Ustream and Twitch people. If you add our Twitch stream and go on to Steam and join Firewind Entertainment Steam group by clicking your username in the upper left-hand corner, then clicking Groups and searching for Firewind Entertainment in the Groups tab, you'll see me, Gene Firewind, as the head of it, and Qua as one of the staff members, or moderator, I think is what it's called. But anyway, you'll see us there, and by all means, certainly go in and join the group. We're going to do reviews on a couple of different games. We have the list of games that we play over on the right-hand side. As we add more games to like the things that we generally tend to stream, we'll continue to update that list accordingly. If you are a game developer and you would like us to stream your game's content, just send us your information at info@firewindentertainment.com, and we will be more than happy to review your game as long as you send along free copies for both me and Qua to use. Speaking of free game copies that we've received, we are still, for those that are signing up for both the Twitch stream and the Firewind Entertainment group, the first 100 people will be entered to win a copy of Broforce, Sanctum, or Starbound. That's a Sanctum 1 or 2 combo pack, a full copy of Broforce, and a full copy of Starbound. Was gonna contact about maybe getting a copy of Purpose of the Necrodancer to add to that, so maybe we'll do 5 different things to give away. I have another game that I'm interested in getting a copy of to give away, so we'll see how that works out. So if you're a developer and you'd like a little publicity and some stuff to give away, by all means, send us a copy of your game, and we'll be more than willing to both play and demo your game on both Twitch and Ustream, and we'll be more than willing to basically give away copies of your game to those that are watching the streams or pick this up on YouTube and decide to join our particular group. We, of course, ask anybody who doesn't get a free copy of the game to please consider purchasing games that we do demos on. They are a lot of fun. We go through and we play through a game and see whether or not we enjoy it ourselves. And if we enjoy it ourselves, then we, of course, are going to bring it to your attention. If it's a game that we get a free copy of and we don't enjoy it ourselves, we'll go back to the developer and give them our feedback, and then find out whether or not they want us to continue posting content with their game. Maybe they want to use that feedback and potentially make a few changes before we go and do something. I know we've had one developer do that already, so yay, thumbs up. So we do appreciate any developer that contacts us and gives us the opportunity to both give a little bit of a test and a little bit of a review to their games. We don't like to be negative towards any games. We'll pretty much always only stream games that we feel are nice, strong titles that we would definitely recommend. So we're never going to give a game a bad review. We'll only, it's the whole only, speak nice of others because you would like others to speak nicely of you. Keep your negative thoughts to yourself, kind of whole sportsman-like thing. So again, we appreciate everybody watching, and you guys have a great afternoon when we'll probably see you at around 12 o'clock.